That's right, Devontae. Halloween on Franklin Street is a Carolina tradition. This entire area behind me is typically filled with students dressed in their costumes, ready to celebrate. In the past, the event has drawn crowds of up to 80,000 people. Last year, the event was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but this year, the town of Chapel Hill announced that it's expecting people to gather here on Sunday night. Chapel Hill police say they'll close Franklin Street to traffic only if crowds reach a certain size. They say they will not close the street any earlier than 8 p.m. and they plan to reopen it by 9:30 p.m. Now, town officials say although they are expecting students to be out here on Sunday night, they want to remind them that we are still in a pandemic and that large crowds should be avoided. If you plan on coming to Franklin Street on Halloween night, police want you to know that open containers of alcohol are prohibited and weapons, and any item that looks like a weapon is also not allowed. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, I'm Kirstyn Clark, Carolina Week. That's right, Lynn. I'm on campus at UNC Chapel Hill, where you can see the beloved old well right here behind me. Students, seniors specifically, have been taking their graduation photos here all month long in their caps and gowns as they prepare for winter commencement. The university recently announced that the ceremony will be happening in person this year. They have it set for December 12th at 2 p.m. in the Dean Smith Center. Now, masks, of course, will be required and details are subject to change depending on what happens with the pandemic and COVID guidelines. But as of right now, doors will open at 1 p.m. and guests will not need tickets to attend the graduation. As always, our station will be covering the ceremony live, so make sure you tune in on December 12th to see the graduates walk across the stage and get their degrees. When we think about Carolina students, sometimes we forget that many of us actually started our college career somewhere else. More than 38% of UNC's population are transfer students. And in honor of National Transfer Student Week, we talked to transfer students and a professor about their experiences. Thanks, Corey. It's time to put away your Halloween costumes and get out those Carolina football jerseys. It's homecoming weekend here in Chapel Hill. One of the highlights of the holiday season, for me anyways, is eating food with family. So what happens if you're far away from home and you're missing out on those home-cooked meals? A group wants to take UNC and Harvard University to the Supreme Court over racial discrimination. The group Students for Fair Admission says both UNC and Harvard unfairly use affirmative action in their admissions decisions, although district court judges have disagreed.
What are some of your tips and tricks that you use to make your page really pop?
Well, Zach, although I am flattered, I have to say I am definitely not on that level. But, I think the key is just being yourself, posting what you want to post. No, not too many filters, not too many edits, just having fun with it.
What are you thankful for?
Zach, well, of course, I'm super thankful for you. This has been a great experience being on desk this year. But of course, my family, my amazing friends, all the love and support I get. And of course, this year, my health, I'd have to say, just with everything going on. So super thankful for all of that. And that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Devontae, I'll tell you, I actually went with my friends yesterday. I spent way too much money and maybe ate a little bit too much food, but it was totally worth it. Are you going?
Let me tell you, as soon as the show's over, Kirstyn, I'm heading down to Raleigh, going to that state fair. I have got to try. Hannah said something about a frozen cheesecake.
I heard her. And look, if you try it, let me know how it goes because I might have to go back and get some for myself.
I definitely will. But I guess that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Make sure you join us next Wednesday for the latest campus news.
Have a great fall break. Racial equity at UNC has been an issue since the university's founding. The problem led civil rights lawyer and two-time UNC alumna Geeta Kapoor to write a book about it. It's called To Drink from the Well, The Struggle for Racial Equality at the nation's oldest public university. The book chronicles issues and crises that have occurred at the university surrounding African Americans from 1776 up until the end of 2020. I sat down with Kapoor to learn more about the harrowing yet critical story. As a two-time UNC alum and civil rights lawyer, what led you to write this book? What's your why?
I found their stories. I went looking for their stories to find out who they were, where they were from. And in the course of doing that, I had to conduct more and more research on the university. And the more I dug, the more I found.
Detour maps and hammering steel. Sure signs of growth on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill.
It's the combination of what you can do in person and what you can do remotely that really is going to make that building all that it can be.
That building is the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media's new state-of-the-art Curtis Media Center. The school's senior associate dean, Dr. C.A. Tuggle, says the idea has been in the works since 2016.
As technology changes, we're continually upgrading it. And students, when they go out into the real world, it's like, the stuff that you'll probably be working on in the real world, it's not as advanced as what you're working on in Huntsman.
The three-story building's construction is funded by a $10 million gift from the Curtis Foundation. Two of the foundation's trustees are alumni of the Huntsman School. In just a few months, construction workers will be putting their hammers down and the Curtis Media Center will officially be up.
As a broadcast student, I'm super duper excited about having a new space, a new studio to film our live shows. I think it'll be really good.
If all goes as planned, students like Devontae Anthony and faculty like Dr. Tuggle will be able to fully experience the Curtis Media Center in January of 2022. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kirstyn Clark reporting.
A decision shortly to either resign or remain in office. Our sources tell us
the name Susan King carries a special weight in the world of journalism and on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. In the beloved J School, she's nearly a celebrity. Just ask UNC alumna turned DC public policy analyst Caroline Bass.
You should know her, and we should know her. And as young women journalists and writers and people who want to be change makers in this world, she is a person to just aspire to. And the fact that we've had her as our dean has made such a difference for our school, for me as a student, and for so many generations of students to come.
King has served as dean of the now UNC Huntsman School of Journalism and Media since January of 2012. Her dedication and work towards creating more opportunities for students and faculty speaks for itself.
We really have prepared students to look around corners, and they are leaders already. People graduated 8 years ago are at the top of the business because they have the great values that we hold dear at the school and have held for years. But we've brought them into the modern age by really bringing experimental learning. People don't talk about what they're going to do. They do journalism. They do strategic campaigns. They do television.
That's in addition to King's fight for diverse funding opportunities, the development of new state-of-the-art facilities like the Curtis Media Center, and her recruitment of young, passionate faculty members. However, last month, King announced that she would be stepping down from her position as dean after almost a decade of service right here in Carroll Hall.
Bottom line, 10 years was always my plan. I didn't expect it to come in the pandemic. I didn't expect it to come after, a very challenging time in the spring with Nicole Hannah-Jones. But I really am sticking to my guns and saying this is the moment to move on and let another leader come in and bring their vision to this great school.
The announcement resulted in mixed reactions, as well as questions from students and faculty. But for Bass, the answer is clear.
Her leadership and her legacy, not only does it scream, paving the way for young female journalists to come, but it screams that we too must take that torch. It's not an end of an era, but it's more of a passing of the torch because we still have so far to go.
And although King's time as dean is coming to an end, she says she's very excited to continue her legacy in the Huntsman School as a professor. Angie Hudson was a freshman at UNC when her vision began to change. She was legally blind by the time she graduated due to a genetic eye disorder.
So I have not been able to drive for 30 years, and so now that I became an empty nester, I was at the point in my life where I thought starting something brand new to create jobs for other people with disabilities would be a way to give back.
In the summer of 2017, she told her longtime friend, a fellow UNC graduate and speech pathologist, Tamara Lapsley, about her idea. Lapsley was all in. So they opened a steamed coffee shop in the heart of downtown Cary.
Where's coffee?
It's a 501c3 nonprofit coffee shop that has hired 18 employees with a variety of disabilities since its opening in December of 2020. Seth Williams is one of them.
It has been wonderful. It gives me a chance to go out and to speak to other people that I wouldn't normally speak to.
They're all doing really, really well, and they want to do a good job. And they would make wonderful employees for tons of businesses.
In addition to the welcoming environment and a vast array of beverages and pastries, the shop also showcases artwork from local artists with disabilities. It's yet another way Hudson and Lapsley are getting their important message across.
love and inclusion and working with people to maximize their potential and help them to be in the spotlight and help them to shine, and for us to be in the background just helping them to be the best version of themselves.
Building esteem in their community, one cup at a time. In Cary, I'm Kirstyn Clark reporting.
They're down there. They're down one of those bottom layers.
Well, you know where they are. Listen, I have something good to tell you too, though. Yeah.